Welcome, folks, to Crypto News Global. Bitcoin back in the green slightly again today. On today's show, Strategy B could be eligible for S&P 500 inclusion in June if Bitcoin closes quarter 1 above 96,000, which it looks like it will. Banking giant Barclays owns 136,834,000 worth of BlackRock's Bitcoin exchange traded fund IBIT. And the feature story of today, a Bitcoin breaking above 117,000 could trigger Parabolic rally, says Analyst. All this and so much more on today's show. Welcome, folks, to Crypto News Global. I'm your host, Nick Toka. Today is February 16th, 2025, and Bitcoin back in the green, just slightly, still trading within a pretty narrow range, as is most of the crypto market. Let's get right into our market watch of Bitcoin technical analysis. We've got Bitcoin sitting right at that cusp of 97.5, currently at 97,800. Ethereum at 27.17, Solana 195, XRP at $2.80, Doge at 27 cents, and you see most of the big ones here, they're either up or down within about 0.5% today. Doge, the exception, down 2%, and Shiba also down 3.5%. If we go into the crypto bubbles, we'll see the XCN and TEL seem to be the big winners for today, as well as Cake, another respectable day. About 85% in the red, including Trump down 10%, Hex down 10%, Move down about 5%, IOTA down 7%, Shiba down 3.5%, as we mentioned. Most things in the red, but we've got a few outliers in the green. Let's move out to the weekly view. We've got Pancake Mix up 47%, TEL up 80%, Litecoin up 28%, Kaz up 23%, Pepe up 4.5%, about a 50-50 mix, maybe 70-30 mix in the green for the week. And if we zoom out to the monthly, we will see that XCN up 335%, Trump for the month up 187%. I know the all-time high on that coin is about $75, currently sitting at 18 and change. OM up 96%. Let's check our crypto carpet market cap. Currently, Bitcoin is at $1.935 trillion. Ethereum 326 billion. XRP 162 billion. Solana 95 billion. Doge 40 billion. Cardano 27 billion. Tron, to wrap up the top 10, $20 billion. Total market cap for crypto altogether is 3.2 trillion, with Bitcoin holding just under 61% of the total crypto market cap. Ethereum holding steady at 10.26%. XRP, again, steady 5%. Solana at 3%. We are a 54 in neutral in our Crypto Fear and Greed Index. Yesterday was a 50 in neutral, and last week was a 46 in neutral. And we have approximately 1,000 days. This number keeps fluctuating, but I typically go in between the number on the right, which is the average, and the number on the left, which is the current block generation time. So right now, normally it's 10 minutes in between blocks, And right now, as we're looking, it's 8.12 minutes. So this is why the number of days goes way down. But I just take an average. And so it's more likely that the Bitcoin next halving is going to take place in approximately April of 2028. And there are 166,002 blocks until that next halving, and 1,175,007 until the final block is mined in the year 2140. Now keep in mind, even though the last block is going to be mined in 2140, by the year 2034, over 99% of all Bitcoin is going to be mined. So really, that's the timeline everybody should be looking at, because at that point, all the Bitcoin that's out there will be out there. The 1% over 100 years is a very trivial amount. Top market assets by market cap. We're looking at gold at 19.4 trillion, Apple 3.6 trillion, Nvidia 3.4, Microsoft 3 trillion, Amazon 2.4 trillion, Google 2.26 trillion, Bitcoin 1.9 trillion, Facebook 1.86 trillion, silver 1.83 trillion, Saudi Aramco 1.8 trillion, and Tesla 1.14 trillion to wrap up the top 11. And currently you can get 1,025 Satoshis for one US fiat dollar. And speaking of the fiat dollar, the US currently owes in debt 36,485,000,000,000. Make that 486 billion in the next couple of minutes. The debt clock keeps running, and I'm actually curious to see when the money printing is really going to start ramping up in the States. I think we'll probably get some announcements about that coming up soon. We do have somebody who's definitely hedged against inflation, and that would be all of us who own the BITI, but there's some who own a lot more than others, and the one who owns the most in terms of an organization, it would be Michael Saylor. So Strategy B, as they want to be called, could be eligible for the S&P 500 if quarter one closes above 96,000 in terms of the BITI. The last hurdle for MicroStrategy to qualify for the S&P 500 is to achieve positive GAAP net income over the trailing 12 months. They could qualify for S&P 500 inclusion as early as June 20th if quarter one 2025 earnings are strong enough to offset prior Bitcoin-driven losses. For that, Bitcoin would need a quarter one closing price above the average price of 96,337, and during those 3 months, a close below that would force the strategy to book losses, perhaps impending S&P inclusion. Currently, the company meets all eligibility requirements except one, achieving positive GAAP net income over the trailing 12 months, the most recent 4 quarters combined. To qualify, quarter one 2025 earnings must be high enough to offset losses from the previous 3 quarters, a goal that could be achieved thanks to the adoption, now mandatory, of the Financial Accounting Standards Board FASB Digital Asset Accounting Rule. The FASB rule change requires companies to recognize Bitcoin holding at fair value, meaning the price gains will flow through the bottom line, as would price declines. Prior to this rule, corporate digital asset holders were required to account for holdings as their weakest levels. Strategy, for example, in the fourth quarter of 2024, still valued its Bitcoin at less than $16,000 per token, leading to a $1 billion impairment loss, even as Bitcoin closed the year about $94,000. According to analysis by Richard Haas on X, assuming strategy holdings don't change between now and March 31st, Bitcoin must close the first quarter above 96,000 $1,300 for the company to meet the positive trailing 12-month earning requirement based on quarter 4 2024 earnings of $67 million in net income. MicroStrategy requires $1.113 billion in quarter 1 earnings to produce positive earnings in the prior fourth quarters to become eligible for the S&P 500. He wrote, based on MicroStrategy's current treasury of 478,740 BTC, the required BTC price on March 31st to achieve this is 96,337. Yeah, so it's looking very likely that MicroStrategy will be listed on the S&P 500, and just by doing that, there's a fair possibility that the price is going to spike of the MicroStrategy stock almost immediately when it's listed on the main exchange. We have another bank exposing the fact that they have been hodling the BIT, and it seems like now there's going to be this big rainstorm of all these banks that are coming out saying, oh yeah, we also bought the ETF, we also bought BlackRock. This time it's a giant bank, Barclays. They own 136,834,000 worth of BlackRock's Bitcoin exchange traded fund IBIT. The multinational bank giant Barclays holds nearly 137 million worth of BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin exchange traded fund ETF. The London headquartered bank disclosed it holds 2.47 million shares of BlackRock's IBIT fund in a recent quarterly filing submitted to the U.S. Securities Exchange Commission. IBIT, the largest Bitcoin BTC ETF in terms of assets under management, is priced at $55 at the time of writing, meaning Barclays holdings are worth around $137 million. Barclays also recently disclosed in a 2024 annual report that the United Kingdom's Financial Conduct Authority, FCA, is probing the bank over potential anti-money laundering rule violations, explains the firm. The FCA's investigation focused primarily on the historical oversight and management of certain customers with heightened risk. Barclays has been cooperating. Excuse me, it's late over here, guys. Barclays has shown an interest in the blockchain and digital asset space for years. In 2024, the bank teamed up with other financial institutions and industry body UK Finance to participate in a tokenized deposits pilot project. And in 2022, reports emerged that Barclays planned to buy a multi-million-dollar stake in Copper, a European crypto firm aiming to provide a secure infrastructure for institutions looking to invest in digital assets. The same year, the bank also backed Elwood Technologies, a crypto infrastructure and market data platform founded by billionaire Alan Howard. So it's interesting here how every time there's a good news, we've got they also come out with their FUD, right? It's not good enough that they can say, oh yeah, we own 137 million in BlackRock ETF. They also have to, in the same article, also recently disclosed in a 2024 annual report that the United Kingdom's Financial Conduct Authority is probing the bank over potential anti-money laundering rule. So right away, when people read this article, they think, oh, it must be crypto related. But you know, I can't guarantee it, but I'm going to go on the record right now to say that this is fiat money related. They're anti-money laundering bullcrap violations. So, you know, as I've pointed out before and we covered in the show, there were 1.03 trillion dollars in scams with fiat currency, you know, traditional money, paper money, in 2024, and there was only 3 billion in crypto scams. So 1 trillion, 3 billion paper money, 3 billion crypto. So a $1 trillion difference in scams. So paper money, fiat money was scammed $1 trillion more than the BTC in 2024. So don't listen to the FUD, folks. They only just want to keep the price down so they can keep buying more of it. Now, speaking of price heightening, we have an analyst talking about, I've heard this before, if the price breaks through 117 grand, it could trigger a parabolic rally. It was another volatile trading week in the Bitcoin market, but we have Burak Kesmesi shared an interesting technical analysis on the BTC market, highlighting 2 key zones that could decide the short-term price direction. On one of these critical zones is the 1.6 gold ratio multiplier, which currently stands at 117,000. The 1.6 golden ratio multiplier is a valuation tool used to identify vital resistance zones in a bull market. Therefore, Kesmesi postulates that if Bitcoin future market closes above 117,000, spot traders can anticipate the bull rally to rediscover its form, leading into an immediate uptrend. The second important price zone identified by Burak is the 111-day moving average, which is presently at 94,000. The 111-day DMA is a commonly used moving price average indicator that often acts as a key dynamic support level during a bull run. Consequently, a weekly or daily price close between 94,000 and futures market will invite a strong bearish pressure on the Bitcoin, translating into an immediate price dip. Based on Kesmesi's postulation, Bitcoin will likely soon break out of its current consolidation zone to register any significant price movement. Bullish factors that may support a price breakout include an increase in ETF inflows and corporate crypto interest, as well as substantial progress in the U.S.'s new crypto agenda. On the other hand, investors should fear variables such as negative macroeconomic developments, example, a hike in Fed interest rate, especially considering the recent rise in U.S. inflation. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's another hike in interest rates. It's just more Fed Reserve crap. I wouldn't be overly surprised if that's the situation. But I also feel like Bitcoin's starting to be immune to all the FUD and all the Fed Reserve chatter. So let's go into trading view here and let's zoom right into let's zoom right into 2025. So I'm going to change the chart view here so we have a little bit of a better view, something more than what we're used to. All right, so that's going to have to do. And as we're seeing here, there is a very, very, very narrow range we've been trading in for a long, long time. So this is Friday, November 1st. And as you see, February 15th, where we're at now, the price literally is on this same line. We had a bit of a jump. This is the day of the halving here. So we had a bit of a pump up to, 70K at the time. Then again sideways, then a bit of a dip, then up a bit, but and this is October, so this is when Trump won the election. Then this is probably very close to Inauguration Day here. Yep, January 1st. So right now, that's sitting as our high, and there hasn't been much change here at all. So I do anticipate a big move one way or the other. If we are talking about the same historical type movement in the Bitcoin price, I would expect a big move. This type of situation as we see in the past. All right, 2020 halving, the cycle peak. This is the year after the halving here, these double peaks. So when we get over to this year, there's not that much of an upside that we've, it's definitely up, but it's not up here, which is something that most people expect. And it just makes me think that with all this government adoption, are we going to see this huge price increase followed by a big dip the following year after the halving? Or is it going to be like Michael Saylor's been saying, where there's going to be a bull run from now until the year 2030 or 2038, I think is what he said. It's like a ongoing bull run, which then would lead me to think that this type of price action, with a small leg up, then a whole bunch of consolidation, then maybe another small leg up to 1.25, 120, 117 as the analyst was suggesting, followed by another long period of consolidation, then another leg up. So we might be playing that game as well. It's hard to say. You hear lots of people saying this halving cycle is different, and it very well might be different. Let me share my chart with you guys so you can see what I'm talking about. So we see from literally for over 3 months now, we've been pretty much going sideways. So here's a good look. November, and here we are 3 months later, and almost exactly to the number. So we had a bit of a pump, then sideways, and here it's the same kind of thing. A bit of a pump, then sideways, a bit of a pump, then sideways. Whereas if you look at the other 2020 cycle, we had a big violent upswing followed by a violent downturn, followed by a impressive and violent upturn, followed by a big dip, and then here was your chance to buy the dip at $15,000. So, and hopefully people did that. Certainly now, the price we are talking about, 97, and it's been sitting around this 97 and a half range for quite some time now. And it's going to be interesting which route actually we go. Is it going to be a traditional style Bitcoin halving cycle, the 4-year cycle, or is it going to be more like what Michael Saylor has said, where there's going to be a 10-year or more type cycle? It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Hodl, hodl, hodl. If you're unsure, hodling through all the ups and downs and all the cycles is certainly a good way to go. And eventually prices should continue to go up. Again, do a little research yourself. This can't be deemed as your only financial advice. You should definitely do a little more research, listen to some more videos. My personal belief is we are still going to continue in these 4-year cycles, and it depends a lot on what's going to happen with the U.S. Bitcoin reserve and the news that's going to come out in the next, really, they gave it 180 days, so we're talking about maybe 160 days now. So 5 months. Within the next 5 months, we should really see how this market's going to go. And if the U.S. Announces a Bitcoin strategic reserve, then all bets are off. The price could go through the roof. Now, I do think that well before that happens, we're going to get U.S. individual states announcing they have reserves. So that's going to probably do a little bit to the price as well. I feel also that we're going to keep getting more nation states that are going to come out, just like Abu Dhabi did the other day. And then we've got banks that are coming out, it seems like daily now, saying, oh yeah, we own, 137 million. This was Barclays Bank today. So interesting times. Keep hodling and keep dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin slowly, and I think that is a very good approach. Even if the price dips, well, that's your opportunity to buy more. If the price goes up, at least you're not missing all the ups and downs, and you're buying it at what should be, dollar cost averaging, the lowest possible price. Hopefully you found this information useful, everybody. Remember that money is abundant, money is everywhere. It's time that's scarce. We talk about it all the time. So use your time wisely. Spend less than what you earn, which will always keep you in the positive. Save more money than you earn. If you start making more money, save that more money. Don't start spending more money, and start saving when you're young. Start saving when you're 20. You should be able to retire when you're 40 if you do this nicely. And if you have a great idea, start today with that great idea. Don't wait for tomorrow. Even if you're not ready, start today and things will come together. Folks, I've noticed that there's a substantial number of people that watch the stream, but so many few are subscribed. So please do subscribe to the stream. I'm going to try to keep bringing enjoyable and helpful information, including additional financial literacy to everybody, a little bit on each show. So if you enjoy what I'm doing, there's no charge to subscribe. The show will definitely continue on with or without you, but it would be nice to get to my goal of 500 or more subscribers. So please do like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you on the next stream. Folks, thanks so much for joining.